K-pop Demon Hunters didn't just become the biggest surprise of 2025, it officially became the most watched movie in Netflix history. After that massive success, all eyes naturally turned to a sequel. With record-breaking viewership, chart-topping music, and a pop culture explosion, a follow-up isn't just possible anymore, it's basically inevitable. Netflix's internal reports confirm that the film's global numbers have surpassed every animated title on the platform. And with this momentum, the destination is clear. The countdown for K-pop Demon Hunters 2 has already begun. But before we get into the details, if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and drop a like and don't forget to subscribe. Alright, let's get into it. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Sony Pictures Animation and Netflix have officially sat back down at the negotiation table. The first movie was a major step forward in Sony's streaming-focused animation strategy, bringing Netflix record-breaking viewership. But interestingly, Sony only made around $20 million in net revenue from the deal. Now things are looking different. Netflix needs Sony's animation power again for the sequel, and that gives Sony way more leverage. In short, both giants are actively discussing how to expand the K-pop Demon Hunters universe together. Directors Maggie Kang and Chris Appelants have made it clear in interviews that we've only seen the beginning of this story. The first movie was just the doorway to a much bigger universe. Kang even told Variety that pieces of the second movie's story are already planned, especially deeper arcs focused on Zoey and Mira. While the first film centered on Rumi's emotional journey, the sequel is expected to explore the identities, origins, and powers of the rest of the team. Their comments prove that both the creative team and the platform want this franchise to continue. Meanwhile, Netflix is signaling a long-term investment in the brand. CEO Ted Sarandos said during Q2 investor meetings that people are in love with this movie and its music. This is what will keep it alive for a long time. And according to a July 2025 report from The Wrap, Netflix is considering not just a second movie, but an entire trilogy. Because of its massive success, there are also talks of a stage musical and other expansion projects. So it's clear the future of this franchise is about much more than just one sequel. One thing is certain. The commercial, cultural, and musical success of K-pop Demon Hunters has made a second film basically unavoidable. The original soundtrack dominated Billboard, global events sold out, limited edition Shin Ramyun collabs launched worldwide, and the HUNTR X identity is still trending at the top of social media. To maintain that momentum, Netflix and Sony have fast-tracked development for the sequel. Bottom line, K-pop Demon Hunters 2 isn't just likely, it's required. The creative team has openly shared that the sequel will focus heavily on character-driven stories that didn't fit into the first movie. With Rumi's emotional journey now complete, we'll dig deeper into Zoey and Mira, who they are, how they became demon hunters, and the turning points that shaped them. Maggie Kang revealed that their backstories originally appeared in early drafts of the first film but were removed due to runtime limitations. So the sequel is shaping up to be much more expansive in both character depth and world building. Meanwhile, the fan base hasn't been quiet. Theories about Mira's origins have exploded online. In the movie, every human has black hair except Rumi, Mira, and the Saya boys. The fact that Mira has naturally pink hair and eyebrows even as a child suggests that the color might be biological. That's why many fans are asking, is Mira secretly a demon? If that's true, her internal struggle could be a powerful, emotional, and visual thread in the sequel. One of the strongest theories about the future of HUNTR X is that the group will expand beyond 3 members. In the first film, historical demon hunter trios were always groups of 3, but Honmoon's shift to a golden form may have broken that cycle. In Sino-Korean mythology, the 4 Guardians theme shows up in the color coding of the characters, leading fans to believe that Rumi, Zoey, and Mira represent 3 of the Guardians, and the missing one is the Vermilion Bird of the South. That points to a potential 4th member joining the team, with a bright red-orange theme. So the team might expand not only in power but also in mythological significance. Of course, the universe's growth isn't limited to adding new heroes. Jinu's fate is one of the hottest topics right now. When his soul moved into Rumi's sword, the story took a metaphysical turn. Korean mythology describes an afterlife filled with strict bureaucracy where some souls can reincarnate, and that means Jinu might return with a physical form. Considering his popularity and his emotional bond with Rumi, this feels like a very real possibility for the sequel. On the darker side, the Saja boys are expected to get deeper story exploration as well. One popular theory is that Dr. Han secretly played a major role in their creation, suggesting the Saja boys were once human but transformed into demons after making a pact with Guima. Fans also speculate that each of their demon forms reflects personal trauma, Mystery's fear of intimacy, Baby's struggle with objectification, Abby's body image issues, and Romance's loneliness. If true, this would make the Saja boys not just villains, but tragic, complex characters. All of these narrative expansions hint that K-pop Demon Hunters is evolving into a massive transmedia project, not just a film franchise. The Wrap reports that Netflix is already considering at least 2 more movies, plus side content like a stage musical. This strategy shows Netflix is positioning K-pop Demon Hunters as a Frozen-level mega brand, something that can grow far beyond a single story. We could see new music productions, live shows, animated specials, and spin-off miniseries in the future. There's also a very practical reason for expanding the universe: the music. The film didn't just break streaming records, its soundtrack became a global phenomenon. HUNTR X's Golden held the top global Billboard spot for weeks. The soundtrack landed 4 songs in the Hot 100 Top 10 at the same time. Members of Twice supported the film publicly, hinting at future collaborations. All this suggests that the sequel will feature even more ambitious musical production, possibly with a wider range of K-pop artists. That could influence not only the emotional tone of the story, but also its marketing, stage events, and global touring plans. Another major element is the global fan community. Worldwide sing-along screenings sold out in over 1,000 theaters, proving the franchise's strength as a physical experience. Fans aren't just watching, they're participating. Cosplay, fan events, community screenings, and social media projects have become the norm. Shin Ramyun merchandise, boy band-style clothing, vinyl records, and special edition CDs have given fans a sense of physical ownership. It's highly likely that these partnerships will expand, leading to an even bigger global campaign for the sequel. At the center of all this growth lies the Honmoon mythology. In the first movie, Honmoon turning golden may have signaled a new era of demon hunters. This transformation wasn't just visual, it opened the door for major narrative shifts. The destruction of Honmoon blurred the boundary between humans and demons, opening the world to new power dynamics. Guima and other cosmic antagonists could return, and entirely new entities could emerge. The loss of Honmoon may mean that power is now being redistributed, forcing HUNTR X to face new threats. Ultimately, K-pop Demon Hunters 2 isn't just gearing up to tell a bigger battle, it's shaping into a more mature story about identity, belonging, and transformation. Deeper looks into the pasts of characters like Mira and Zoey, the possible introduction of a 4th team member, the Saja boys' tragic origins, Jinu's spiritual journey, the changing meaning of Honmoon, and the ever-powerful role of music together suggest a sequel that's stronger emotionally, visually, and sonically. With everything coming together, this franchise has the chance to live beyond screens on stages, in digital platforms, and throughout real-world culture. Alongside those story improvements, the directors have hinted at a bolder visual style. While the first film earned praise for its neon-tinted action, the new creative vision seems to lean into deeper symbolic storytelling, melding character psychology with mythological imagery. If Mira truly has demon origins, we might see dark, shape-shifting visuals that express her inner conflict. Meanwhile, Zoey's combat style could evolve into more dragon-inspired choreography, visually strengthening the Guardian theory. At the same time, the sequel's action scenes will likely be bigger and more varied. With HUNTR X facing greater threats, we could see set pieces across rooftops, concert stadiums, and even celestial realms. Sony Pictures Animation proved with Spider-Verse that they can blend visual styles, and we may see that approach again here. Demon transformations might be presented with stylistic shifts, comic panel effects, or myth-coded animation sequences inspired by different cultures. As all this unfolds, the emotional dynamics within the team will also evolve. Zoey's half-human, half-warrior identity could clash with Mira's possible demon origins, deepening the movie's trust themes. And if new members join, issues of leadership and direction could spark internal conflict. With Rumi's leadership arc largely complete, she might take on a mentor role, still important, but not always at the center. That would allow new dynamics to reshape the team. Meanwhile, the enemies themselves might evolve. While many assume Guima is the ultimate villain, Honmoon's destruction may have disrupted cosmic balance, inviting new threats. These antagonists may not even be demons. They could represent a darker side of the human world or the K-pop industry. Fan theories suggest Dr. Hun could play a much darker role in the sequel, with deeper ties to Saja Boys and demon networks. If Han is bargaining with demons, HUNTR X could be forced into heavy moral dilemmas. Another big shift, the music could become an active part of the story instead of just a stylistic layer. The first film used music to charge emotional and action beats. The sequel might take that further. Lyrics and melodies could become tied to mythic systems or magical energy. Certain songs could influence cosmic forces, open new power gates, or even replace Honmoon as the new ritual mechanism. Music performances could become literal magical rituals. Beyond storytelling potential, there's also realistic timing to consider. Stylized animation, especially at the level of Spider-Verse, takes a long time to produce. So even if the sequel gets officially greenlit, we're probably looking at least a 2-year wait. However, thanks to the pre-existing world building, character models, and visual foundations from the first film, pre-production could move faster this time. Netflix may push to accelerate development, but most industry sources say 2027 is the earliest realistic release window, so temper expectations. Still, it's clear fan interest won't fade anytime soon. K-pop Demon Hunters isn't just a movie anymore, it's a lively cultural movement. Merch drops, fashion collabs, global events, and fan initiatives keep the IP hot even without new content. Across Asia, North America, Europe, and Latin America, creators are actively supporting and expanding the HUNTR X fandom. That means the brand will only grow stronger while we wait for the sequel, making a trilogy and expanded universe strategy very likely for Netflix. Looking back at everything, it's clear. This sequel is no longer just a maybe. Contract negotiations between Sony and Netflix, public statements from the creative team, the CEO's confidence, and the global cultural footprint all point to one thing: K-pop Demon Hunters 2 is already destiny. The explosion of fan theories, community discussions, curiosity about character backstories, and behind-the-scenes rumors all prove the sequel's path is already laid out. Expectations for the sequel go beyond just story and character. Fans are anticipating even bigger music collabs, international tours, and global promotional campaigns. K-pop Demon Hunters could set a new standard for how music and animation work together. Imagine a story where songs aren't just background flavor but narrative engines, where performances are magical rituals, where character arcs unfold on stage. That kind of layered structure would give the universe incredible storytelling and cultural depth. K-pop Demon Hunters is far more than an animated movie now. It's a global phenomenon, a booming brand, and a rapidly forming universe. The renewed partnership between Netflix and Sony, the director's hints, and the unshakable passion of the fans all point to one thing: this story isn't over. Ahead of us are new characters, unanswered mysteries, returning spirits, and an expanding HUNTR X team. In short, the sequel isn't just inevitable, it's just the beginning. If you like this video, hit that like button, drop your wildest theory in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because when new updates drop, you already know we'll be the first to talk about them. See you in the next video.